Yo, what is going on, guys? Episode 62 of many. I just recorded this actually and said episode 61, so now we redid it. I asked Garrett twice what episode we were on. He said 61, and then I thought about it, and no, we are on episode 62. If this is the first time you're tuning in, please go back and listen to episodes 1 through 4. If you are a constant listener and you hear me say that every time and you haven't listened to episodes 1 through 4, please go back and listen to episodes 1 through 4. It will give you a brief understanding of our history and where we started, how we got to where we are today. And I think that just kind of helps complete the picture and understanding of why we're kind of doing what we're doing right now. There's a couple other really good episodes out there that kind of talk about the Grizzly Life and why we're doing it. I don't have that episode handy. I should probably get that one as well so you guys can understand why the Grizzly Life. But really, we're here to help individuals take the next step in whatever journey they're on. We're obviously fitness-based, right? We've got our own fitness centers. We have a fitness equipment installing and moving and servicing company as well. And we own some real estate. But we're really here to help any individual that just needs that extra push. One way I like to explain it, you've got a group of friends, you've got your inner circle, and everybody kind of has, the leader in the group or the person who helps bring you up to the next level. I kind of want this podcast to be that, right? I want to be able to come into your inner circle and I want to help bring you guys up to the next level. So if you're listening and you feel like this podcast is bringing you value, if you know some other people out there that need that extra push or that extra, step up, please share this video to them. Share this podcast to them. We need to get as many people in here as we can. And really, the one thing that I always say, or a couple things I always say, is our goal is to be 1% better every day. Take each and every day, step by step, become a little bit better version of yourself. That 1% better mentality is kind of what we coach here quite a bit. So yeah, let's dive into it. I did get some good feedback on last episode. So everybody's aware, I'm recording this on Friday afternoon. This will release Tuesday. So yesterday's episode, in today's terms, our Thursday episode, our episode 61, I got some good feedback on it. People enjoyed some of those things that I'm doing to better myself. They enjoyed just some of those tips and tricks that I've kind of implemented in my life. So it does mean a lot when we get some feedback. So when you guys are giving me, shooting me a message on Snapchat or telling some of our gym staff, hey, that last episode was really good, I really do appreciate that. So the more of that we get, the better. And then I can really help gear, where we need to go. Also, any feedback you guys have, things that you want to hear me talk on, even if they're things that I'm not an expert on, which I don't claim to be an expert on many things. If there's things that you guys want to hear, let me know. I'll do some research. I'll kind of bring my perspective to the table, and we can go from there. So today you've got just me. We are recording another episode with another individual on his weight loss journey and his fitness journey. So that episode will be releasing Tuesday. I actually record his episode on Monday. And yeah, super excited about that. Another guy I went to school with. He was a grade older than me in middle school. Again, wrestled with him, played football with him. He actually also grew up with Brandon Peters. That was one of our guests here. So it was kind of ironic, the same group of people. And so super excited about that as well. We'll have another interview and kind of give you guys some insights on what he's done to change his life. So I have officially, today is Friday, but I have completed all of my goals again. I know last episode, if you guys listened, I was talking about my journaling and how that's going and how I've set all my personal goals and habits up for the week. I do really stress focusing on yourself first. Once you lock in on yourself, everything else just kind of falls in place. So the more you are locked in on yourself, the better other things, the better other things just play out. Like for me, when I'm really focused on myself, my business is just doing even better. I have more mental clarity. I know that I am doing what I need to do to make sure I'm in good physical health and mental health, all of those things. So then when I have my meetings with my team, when we make decisions, it's just all flowing, right? Everything's going together. So focus on yourself. Make sure you've got a game plan for yourself. So many people get caught up in, I don't have any time or, work this and life that. I get it. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things going on. You need to find the time for yourself. This is a long-term game. We're here for the long term. We're not just here for today and tomorrow. We got to be thinking several years down the road, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Longevity, right? Like building the habits now to live a longer, healthier, happier life later. Similar to, retirement funds. And I've got that as one of my notes here. The best time to start investing was yesterday, and the next best time is today. So think about what you need to do to invest in yourself physically, mentally, personal knowledge, like any of these areas that you need to focus on. Like, let's start thinking about that. Let's write that down. Let's become better versions of ourselves, one step at a time. So if you listened to the last episode, I've got a ton of habits that I've got going that I just wanted to lock back in. I do not expect anybody to have a list of 20 habits that they like, the ones that I shared last week or last episode. I don't expect anybody to just write all of those down and accomplish all of those things. That would be poor. That would be if I told you to do that, that would just be poor coaching on my end. So think of one or two things that you can do better this week, and let's work on that. Let's make sure we accomplish those goals. And if we kill them and we knock them out of the park, let's go on to maybe another habit we want to implement. But it does take time for a habit to stick, and realize whether you're doing it or you're not doing it, it's still a habit. So if you're not making your bed when you wake up, that's your habit of not making your bed. So you can just change the framework. I'm going to make my bed every morning and turn that into a positive habit. One book that I did read that was something I thought about, Make Your Bed. I can't remember who wrote it. It's just a very short book. But it kind of goes off of my thought last week, is no snoozing my alarm. A lot of us snooze our alarms. We sleep in. We maybe set alarms 30, 40 minutes before we have to get up, and we keep snoozing until we have to get up. That screws up your sleep, and I'm a big proponent of really good sleep. So, one, I encourage you to set one alarm and wake up when that alarm goes off. If you have problems waking up to an alarm, find a new alarm. I use the Whoop. It vibrates on my wrist. It wakes me up that way. I also have a special bed sheet. It's called 8 Sleep. This is not one that I talk about very much. I bought this a couple years ago. I actually really do enjoy it. I actually recommend it for anybody. I don't know why I haven't talked about it before, but it is called 8, the number 8, and then Sleep. They've got several newer versions now from when I first bought mine. Basically what it is it goes underneath your sheet, so it's just like goes on your bed. It's got I don't know what it would be called, but like a water basin or something that holds the water. It's electric, and it's throwing. It actually heats you and cools you throughout the night, so it helps you. It helps regulate your body temp and making sure that you're feeling good. Those of us who like to sleep cold and have like cold sheets and that feeling, it helps with that, right? So it also tracks your sleep. It tracks your wake ups. I don't think the version that I have does a very good job comparative like to my Ring and my Whoop, but the way I'm going with this is this also vibrates me to wake up. So I don't even use a sound alarm anymore. I only wake up to vibrations. I like it a lot. I wake up and I feel energized. So where I'm going with this is no snoozing your alarm allows you to start off with the win right away. I didn't snooze my alarm. I got out of bed. Boom. I'm already winning the day. I've already accomplished something. It's a quick win, and quick wins for us humans is big because we can build on that. We can gain momentum, and we can have an even better day. Another thing that we should all be doing is making our bed right away when we wake up. I hate to say it. I don't want to sound like your mom or dad telling you, make your bed before you go to school, but it's another good habit. So now if we wake up with no snoozing, and then we make the bed before we go to work or go to work out or whatever it is, now we've won 2 things. We've got 2 quick wins. They were very simple. They took less than 30 seconds to accomplish. And now we're on a winning streak here on, day, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is, right? So we're doing good things, and we have to look at those as like little accomplishments. A lot of these little accomplishments, you have to realize when you set your mind up for success like this. So if I say this is my new habit and I complete it, like it just starts rewiring your brain. And that's kind of the conversation I want to start having with you guys. So in order to rewire your brain, there's several things, right? Like that can also be diet related, but what you put in is what you get out. So when we're doom scrolling on Facebook or TikTok or, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, oftentimes I like to call that brain rot. And we're all guilty of doing it. We all scroll too much on social media. We all use our phones too much. Hence why one of my goals last week I talked about was no phone after 7:50 p.m. is my new goal. So next week, when you guys hear this on Tuesday, I will have bumped that time back a little bit. It might even be 7:30. That'll be my last time I check my phone. So we need to be rewiring our brain as much as we can. And what I mean by that is I'm encouraging you to read books. I'm encouraging you to, instead of listening to the music, the rap music, the country music, not that I don't love music. I love listening to music as well. I have really set one of my goals to listen to daily education content, right? Was one of my things. So when I'm driving to the gym in the morning, and my brother, G, the producer, can attest to this, I am putting on some Spotify, either podcast or clip that I've or clips that I've downloaded and I need to listen to with really impactful speakers and just like taking away what I can. This is just helping my brain, get in that mode, right? Thinking, learning as much as I can. So taking in as much as I can. Our brains are capable of so much. And when we're doom scrolling, we're taking absolutely nothing in. We're looking for little hits of dopamine, which isn't a good thing for us. Just little quick hits of dopamine is not a good thing. I'm not a neuroscientist, but it is not a good thing for us. So rewiring your brain, reading, listening to daily educational content, getting some of those, a lot of this music in today's day and age, probably and all the time is not that great for us regardless, especially if you're a big rap or hip hop guy. I love that music. I love listening to it. I love working out to it. I love, hanging out with my buddies and listening to it as well. But generally just listening to it probably isn't the best thing for our brains either. We're taking in some of that stuff and it's just my 2 cents. So one of my notes on here was to talk about rewiring your brain. Just think about what you put in is what you get out. Be careful of what information you absorb, and the more good you put in, the more good you're going to get out, right? So do with that as you please, as I think one of the things I like to say. Something really cool that I actually just implemented that I thought you guys would kind of find interesting. We're always working to make our culture the best culture here at Grizzly Fitness, Priority Fitness, any of our companies. We're always striving to be a great place to hang out. Like, it's not just a place you clock in and clock out and get a paycheck. We want people to enjoy their job. We want people to feel like family first. We encourage people to be authentic. And so I've been reading a book, and I'll actually talk about this later, by Ray Dalio. It's called Principles. Talks about life and work principles. It's a really good book, especially if you own a business. The work principles are really cool, but the life principles I think are good for everybody. So read that book if you dare. It is longer. It's like 546 pages or 550 or something like that, but it is very good, very insightful, gives me some good stuff. So something that I took away is that everybody needs to report to somebody. I don't need to go too deep into this, but it's just good to have direct reports, good people to talk to, good to have people to talk to. And as we're growing and scaling and implementing new things in our business, we're always trying to understand leadership and management, and is everybody being heard, right? Like, these are just constant problems we're always thinking of. So something that I'm implementing with our upper management team or some of our managers in Grizzly Fitness, and for those of you listening, if any of you are gym staff of mine, any of you that work with me, if you're hearing this for the first time in the podcast, don't worry. This is something new. I'm excited to talk about it right now. We will connect with you on it. Don't think that I'm leaving you out. So today I had my brother, G, the producer, make what I called an accountability or like a daily update form. The goal of this form is that at the end of each day, instead of somebody feeling like I don't even know what XYZ person is doing on a day-to-day basis, this is going to be a form that we're all going to have access to, and we can all understand what everybody's working on. It gives me a snapshot of what we're working on and what people are accomplishing, but it also gives everybody else time to think about what they need to work on. So like for example, some of these questions that they're going to fill out day to day, this is just on their phone. They're going to have a link, and then we've got it linked to Google Forms, right? So we're just going to get some feedback. This will include basic stuff like were there any customer complaints or issues in the gym? But the main thing is going to be, what major accomplishments did you have today? Or what accomplishments did you have today? This is kind of like your daily wins, but also what was the big project that you finished today, right? Oh, I did this data report. I created this new thing. Like, we want to hear what that major win is. Then I'm also trying to encourage our staff to think about what does tomorrow bring, or what does the rest of this week bring? So the next couple questions are going to be, what is tomorrow's major project? What is tomorrow's second most major project? What is tomorrow's third most major project? Usually you only want to have 2 to 3 most important projects, or I think some people call them MVPs, most valuable projects. So our goal is like 2 or 3 major things I'm going to work on or think about the next day. And then at the end of this, and this is where I'm going, and this is part of our culture that I want to build, is our staff is going to be required to write one thing they're grateful for at the end of each day. Does not have to be work related. I want it to be as personal as they want to get it, right? This is going to be submitted so we can see it, but I'm so grateful I get the opportunity to hang out with my family. I'm so grateful my parents are still around and I get to spend time with them. I'm so grateful I get to take my dog for a walk. I'm so grateful I'm still able to walk and take my dog for a walk. Whatever that is, I want people to start thinking in this gratitude, grateful mindset. I think that's important for our culture. The more gratitude you bring, I just think it brings a different kind of person, a different kind of energy, a different kind of happiness, enlightenment maybe, right? Like these different feelings that I think come from being grateful and understanding that every day is a blessing and you can continue, it's just something to build on. So we're implementing this gratitude piece. And yeah, so I thought this was a really cool tool. I started journaling, right? I'm talking to you guys about it. Now we're figuring out how can we bring it back into the company. And I thought that was cool. So I wanted to share that with you guys, building our culture from the ground up and figuring out what things we can do. So the next thing I want to talk about, I'm reading my notes here on what I've got. So I had a conversation earlier this week, and this isn't the first time I've had a conversation like this, but for those of you that are young listeners, or for those of you who are older listeners that know young people like this, I'm 27, and I encourage everybody to think about the future. Think about longevity. Think about being older and spending time with your kids, your grandkids, right? Like that's one of the things I'm constantly talking about. So people in their 20s, maybe their 30s, they have this mindset, right? The invincible mindset and the unlimited time mindset. And, my 50s are so far away. My 60s are so far away. I mean, everybody's been there. We understand that. And if you are a younger listener than your 20s, you'll understand this when you get here. I mean, when you're even in your teens, you really aren't conceptualizing like life as a whole and thinking about, again, later in life. So my note is, it's never too early to start good habits. So many people have this mindset of, I'm 20, I'm 25, I'm 28, I can fix it later, I can do it later, I can worry about it later, there will be time later. And I agree, have fun while you're young and do all the dumb stuff, right? Like if that's your mindset, that's cool. But a lot of these habits do compound and they do grow and they do build your person, they build you. And I think it's so important to realize like the habits you build in your 20s stick with you in your 30s, and then your decades are just so much different looking. And a lot of people get to 40, 50, 60 and they're like, dang, I wish I started when I was 20. Dang. So I'm trying to encourage, especially the younger population, to think about that. Have a good time, enjoy your life, but also start thinking about yourself and what that needs to look like. I'm not telling you shouldn't drink. I'm not telling you shouldn't have fun with your friends. Definitely be careful doing those things, but time will catch up. Your body does slow down in a sense. Your metabolism slows down. So getting fresh out of school, in college, your metabolism takes a big shift in your 20s and into your 30s, and it continues slowing down. So it's not going to be as easy to keep up. So again, building this fitness habit, this routine, is important because as that metabolism slows down, you're going to have to play catch up if you haven't been paying attention and taking care of yourself. So some of my other notes, I'm young and nothing is going to affect me, right? The invisible effect. The illusion of unlimited time. I did mention, so choices now create momentum and set us up for the future. And then I relate this back to, similar to retirement plans, the best time to invest was yesterday. So something else that happens in your 20s that I don't think a lot of people understand is like the character building aspect, right? Like your 20s, you work hard, you you take a lot of risk on, you make a lot of bold moves, you try to figure out what your forever career is, your forever path, or what your future is going to look like. I think a lot of people in your 20s are also not thinking about relationships that you're building and like potentially the bridges you're burning. And I coach to never burn a bridge. No matter how pissed off you get with somebody, no matter whether you're right, they're wrong, you're wrong, whatever, you don't burn the bridge. You can respectfully disagree. You don't need to voice your opinion. You don't need to try to rub it in. And in your 20s, it takes time to get this mindset. But in your 20s, you're young, you're naive, you're hot-headed, right? Like this is a common thing. And we definitely think very emotionally and less logically. So it's important to think about it. It's important to understand that maybe someday this person, maybe I might need their help, or maybe I need somebody else's help, but they're friends with this person that I've burnt the bridge with, and now I lost the connection that way, right? So it's not just that immediate person you're burning the bridge with. It goes much deeper than that. You could be trying to get a loan from whatever. You could be having a relationship with this other person, and then, like I said, it comes back to this, well, I burnt the bridge here, and that screwed me up for here, here, and here. So not often in life, I feel like, does that affect you? But the day it does, you're going to wish that you didn't burn that bridge, right? So just be careful with your words and understand what you're saying and care about, the person you're building, the character you're building. We've been working on our character since the day we were born, and we're transforming each day and realize like the bigger and better you build yourself and the stronger you build yourself mentally, physically, all aspects is important. So be mentally tough, be physically strong, and just be cautious of those things that you say, right? Don't burn any bridges. Apologize even if you're wrong. Like, just a lot of people are only seeing things from their shoes, which leads me to my next point. Perspective versus perception. Perception is what I see. Perception is what I'm seeing right now in the world through my own eyes, right? That's what I perceive. Perspective is more of a top-down view, a perspective of the world and understanding the vision, the way that other people maybe are interpreting the situation. So you have to balance perception versus perspective in all aspects. And this is emotional versus logic. Perception is extremely quick, extremely emotional. This is exactly how I see it, so this is why I made my decision. And perspective is being able to take a step back and understand other people's perspectives. They're very similar, but perspective, again, is the entirety, the top-down view, the world view, understanding what other people might think and feel, and thinking about how that maybe affected their decision, right? So this kind of goes back towards earlier on in our podcast, like early episodes, I was reading a lot about psychology, right? And that's where a lot of this emotion versus logic conversation comes from. But think about it next time you are in an argument. You're emotionally fired up. You are, again, hot-headed. You are right. There's no way you're wrong. But take a step back for a second before you say something and try to realize where that other person is coming from. Try to find the common ground and just realize that there's a million, way more than a million, because there's way more than a million people in the world, but there's all these different perspectives and the way that they see the world through their own eyes. So very interesting concept, perception versus perspective, but just realize nobody sees the world quite like you do. Nobody sees the things that you see, and it's just something to keep in mind. The other note that I had on here that I want to throw out there for you, there is this thought that as we get older, we break down, right? As soon as the males hit 26 years old, your testosterone starts decreasing, or, you hit your 30s and, your knees start cracking, or, all of these things do happen, but they don't need to happen necessarily, right? Like the average human isn't taking care of themselves. I mean, I feel like that's a fair statistic to say. The average human is definitely not focusing on themselves first, but as far as taking care of yourself nutritionally and working out and staying in cardiovascular shape, the average person is not doing those things. So it's easy to say that we naturally decline as we get older. And obviously we naturally decline. Me at 25 and me at 95 is going to be severely different, but we can slow that process down. We can continue to improve into our 30s and 40s if we stay with good habits, if we continue working on ourselves. Some people who find fitness in their 40s say, I'm way healthier and feel way better than I did in my 20s. Now, that was 20 years ago, and that might be a bold statement regardless, but you got to take care of yourself. And we don't have to feel like we're declining and we're getting older each year. And again, I think a lot of that's a mental mindset, and age is just a number. And a lot of these devices nowadays, not saying they're true or whatever, but like the Whoop and the Oura Ring, they have like biological age versus like they have like what your real age is versus like what their readings are showing, right? So on my Whoop, it shows that I'm 24.5, but then my real age is 27.5 or 0.2 or whatever month we're on. And so it's just interesting that like we can slow down the pace of aging if we're taking care of ourselves, and that there's studies out there showing that if we're taking care of ourselves, we can slow down the pace of aging, which is incredible. So again, I challenge you to put yourself first, to understand every aspect of your personal health. If you need to go to the doctor and understand more, go for it. If you want to do your own research, as you all know, I eat carnivore. I eat primarily red meat and eggs and salt, and that's what I've chosen for myself. That's what works for me right now. But find what works for you and stick to it. Create some habits. Obviously, I coach whole foods. I want you eating things that you can grow in your own garden, whatever things you can grow in your own garden that are in that season, right? So I think that's a big one for vegetables and fruits. You should only be eating vegetables and fruits that are grown in season. And yeah, I mean, this isn't a nutrition episode, so we're not going to dive into that. I don't need to go down the rabbit hole or those conversations. We should definitely talk more about nutrition, but we don't have to decline so quickly. If we take care of ourselves, especially at a young age, and we create good habits and take care of our relationships and all these things, that we can actually continue progressing well into our 30s and 40s. So anyways, I'll leave you off with that. I did read the book, like I said, Principles by Ray Dalio. I highly recommend it to any of you listening. If you own a business, or if you are high up in a business, or you help with HR stuff, the back half is really good. The work principles I thought was fantastic. I loved it. A lot of little one-offs. And his two things is radical open-mindedness and radical truth. Radical transparency, right? He builds a culture around being transparent and wanting people to innovate and wanting people to argue, but understanding to know that arguing is okay and criticism is good. And as he hires his team and builds his team, like, this is the culture. So it's the norm. It's the norm to understand that we're not all going to agree. And once we come to a decision, that decision is final and everybody's going to go on with their day. And so radical open-mindedness, be willing to hear others out, and radical truth, being transparent, being honest. So anyways, very good book. I highly recommend it. I am going to leave off there with you guys. It's Friday, about 3 p.m., so we are going to wrap up. I appreciate you guys. I look forward to having Mason on next episode, so hopefully you guys tune in for that. Hopefully you guys have been checking out Holden's episodes. We've released 2 of those so far. I am excited to have him on again at the end or middle to end of October and hear about how his goals are going. So if you don't follow me, or if you don't have me on Snapchat, add me there, Colton.Burt, Colton.Burt. If you don't have me on Instagram, go follow me, ColtonBurt19. Look me up on Facebook, add me there as well. If you know somebody who would be a good guest on the podcast, shoot me a message, however you want to shoot me a message. If you want to email us, email Garrett at fitnessgrizzly.com. That is Garrett with 2 R's and 2 T's. Love your feedback. I'd love to start booking out some podcast guests. We don't have to do it in person, so if you know somebody across the world, that we can do a mobile podcast as well, so we can do a virtual setup. But I think that's all I've got for you guys. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Episode 62 of many. I can't wait for episode 100. If anybody's got a good idea on what we should do for 100, I think there's an opportunity there for sure. But anyways, thank you guys. You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. So that's when you're going to be hearing it. But have a wonderful week and go kick some ass. Have a good one.